Okay, students, let's discuss the topic of etching. Okay, so this is third lecture, and today we will start our discussion on second type of etching, which is called as dry etching. Okay, so we will begin this lecture with an important concept, which is of degree of anisotropy. Okay, as we have been discussing that what we want is a perfectly vertical edge. Okay, and we want etching process to be anisotropic. Okay, okay, and by anisotropic in this case we mean that horizontal etching rate, horizontal or lateral etching rate. Okay, let's write it. Rate is negligible. Okay, okay, compared to vertical etching rate. Okay. Okay, why we want horizontal rate to be negligible? So that there is no undercutting beneath the photoresist. Okay. I will again draw an example. Okay. Let's say this is our silicon. Okay. And above silicon we have got first let me draw photoresist in this case. Okay, this is the photoresist. Okay. Now we are doing our etchant accesses. This oxide is between the photoresist and silicon. Okay, and our etchant will access this oxide through this gap. Okay, this opening which we have created by lithography. Okay, now if there is perfectly anisotropic etching, okay, in that case what we want is, what will happen, that we will get a structure which is like this. Okay, so this is the case. We want our etching to happen like this. Okay, means our SiO2, earlier we had SiO2 here. Okay, earlier what we had SiO2 here also. Okay, but after etching this SiO2 gets received. Okay, maybe I will just write name of these layers. Okay, here we have got silicon. Okay, above silicon we have SiO2 oxide, and above SiO2 then we have photoresist. Okay, so we want our etchant to remove only this part of the okay, this tool is little bit funny. Okay, anyway, it is clear to you that green layer is silicon and this orange layer is SiO2 and this purple layer is photoresist. Okay, So anisotropic etching means when there is etching in lateral direction also. Okay. So what happens when you have etching in lateral direction? Your structure will not be like this. Okay. Okay. Rather, what happens that okay, first let me write for clarity that this is the case when our etching is anisotropic. Okay. Anisotropic etching. Okay. You will get a structure like this. Okay. Now we will in anisotropic, what is happening? Your lateral etch rate is 0. In this case, lateral etch rate is 0. Okay. Lateral etch rate is 0. So you can see there is no undercutting beneath the PR, है ना? तो फोटोरेसिस्ट के नीचे आपका जो ऑक्साइड है वो बिल्कुल भी आपका क्या बोलते हैं एक तरह से इफेक्ट नहीं होता, केवल वर्टिकल डायरेक्शन में आपकी एचिंग होती है. ओके. लेटरल डायरेक्शन में कोई एचिंग नहीं है तो आपका एचेंट लेटरल डायरेक्शन में कोई एचिंग नहीं करता है. ओके. तो आपका जो फोटोरेसिस्ट के नीचे जो SiO2 है वो सेफ है, वो आपका किसी तरह से इस केस में एच नहीं होता है. ओके. और ये आपका परफेक्टली वर्टिकल कट जैसा इंटेंडेड था वैसा आपको मिलता है SiO2 में एनाइसोट्रॉपिक एचिंग के बाद. ओके. नाउ लेट्स से कि आवर etching okay is not anisotropic, okay, and rather it is isotropic etching. Okay. So what happens in isotropic etching? Okay, you will have etching in vertical direction as well as lateral direction. Okay, so you may get a structure like this. Okay, rather than getting okay a perfect vertical cut, you may get SiO2 etched like this. Okay. So now this is the case of isotropic etching. Okay. What is happening in isotropic etching? You have got a lateral etching rate. Okay. Okay. Lateral etching is significant. Okay. And in fact, if we said completely isotropic will be complete isotropic means when your lateral etching rate is as significant as the vertical etching rate. Okay. So how do we know that whether means up to what degree our etching is anisotropic or not? For that, okay, we define a parameter, okay, which is called as degree of anisotropy. Okay, this parameter is basically called as A sub f. Okay, A sub f. Okay, or maybe okay. And this is equal to 1 minus and ratio of lateral etching rate RL, R sub L divided by vertical etching rate, okay, R sub V. Okay, so this is the definition of degree of anisotropy. Okay, RL is lateral etching rate. Okay, etching rate you may have units like in maybe micron per hour, or let's call it minute, maybe roughly. Okay, and RV is vertical etching rate. Okay, vertical etching rate. Okay, so you can see if RL and RV are both same, both are equal, in that case your AF will be 0. Okay, AF is equal to 0 means that in horizontal and as well as vertical direction, in both direction your etch rate is same. Okay, so you get an isotropic etching. Okay, it is completely, it is AF is equal to 0 is completely isotropic etching. Okay, on the other hand, if AF is equal to 1, okay, so you will see that AF is equal to 1 means AF is equal to 1 means that your RL is 0. Okay, RL is 0 means lateral etch rate is 0. Okay, which means there is no undercut beneath the photoresist in the given diagram. Okay, and AF is equal to 1 is the case of completely anisotropic etching. Okay. Okay, so you can see it like this way. In this direction, vertical direction, what you are getting is RL. Okay, lateral etch rate. Okay, and in vertical direction, what you get is vertical etch rate. Okay, so in a given time you may have a lateral etch distance and a vertical etch distance. So the ratio of lateral etch rate and vertical etch rate will be basically equal to the amount of etch in the lateral direction and divided by amount of etching in vertical direction. Okay, so this way you can estimate degree of anisotropy. Okay, so now we will move further. Okay, so once it is clear to us that what is the issue of undercut beneath the photoresist and a related parameter degree of anisotropy. So now we can go to the topic of dry etching. Okay, dry etching. Okay, so first is why do we move away from wet etching? Wet etching. Okay, wet etching has very poor directivity. Okay, and poor directivity means that okay, it means that wet etching basically uh, results in undercut beneath photoresist. Okay, and thus isotropic etching. Okay, so this is one of the disadvantage of wet etching. Okay, Okay, so what we have is another class of etching method, which is called as dry etching. Okay, so how we do dry etching, okay, is basically what we do is that we use plasma for the dry etching. Okay, okay, and plasma is like as we know, it's fourth state of matter. Okay, in this what you got is, okay, plasma, if you see, okay, it has got, okay, it has ions, electrons, and even like molecules. Okay, okay, all are, okay, okay, molecules. Okay, so basically these are in kind of gaseous state, but normally a typical gas phase of material is when it is comprised of molecules only. Okay, but in case of plasma, not only molecules, but uh, mostly you will find that it is built of ions and electrons. Okay, okay, so plasma is a different state of matter altogether. Okay, so to have plasma, uh, to get etching, okay, we have basically two kind of etching processes. Okay, in which if you see the plasma, okay, uh, you will have a capacitively coupled method plasma. Okay, okay, and second is inductively coupled plasma. Okay, okay, and if you see how this plasma does the etching on the surface. Okay, so you have many possible mechanisms. Okay, and if you list those mechanisms here, so those will be like first, what we can have is a physical sputtering taking place. Okay, physical sputtering means uh, that your film basically film gets removed, okay, by energy, okay, or due to energy, and in this case energy means the kinetic energy. Okay, so when these ions basically bombard your film, okay, so due to that kinetic energy of ions, okay, which are striking the thin film, okay, what happens that your thin film gets removed. Okay, so basically it's a kind of mechanical force. Okay, when your ions are striking the thin film, that gets removed. Okay, so your thin film is eroded by continuous bombardment of ions. Okay, okay, so this is one of the method. Okay, second very common mechanism is reactive ion etching. Okay, this is a very common mechanism. Okay, and most of the plasma will use this mechanism. Okay, so what happens that in case of reactive ion etching, okay, there are many ions which are bombarding the thin film, okay, along with the molecules. Okay, so you have got neutral molecules as well. Okay, so what happens that your ions which are normally striking the thin film, okay, okay, and in parallel to this phenomena of ion bombardment, what is happening is that a reaction is also happening. Okay, a reaction means that those your neutral radical molecules basically they also interact with the, okay, they also interact with the thin film. Okay, so why this is different than physical sputtering. Okay, in case of physical sputtering, basically your ions will remove everything. Okay, whatever is in their way. So so basically if you don't want a part of thin film to be removed, then you have to cover it from by use of photoresist or other layer. Okay, so you have to use a thicker photoresist or thicker oxide layer to save a part of layer underneath. Okay, but reactive ion etching basically it provides you selectivity also. Okay, मतलब इसकी जो मैकेनिज्म है ये फिजिकल स्पटरिंग जैसी है, लेकिन because it has got some reactive element also. Okay, so etching is basically dependent on the this chemistry of your reactive agents with the thin film. Okay, so not all type of thin film will be removed, but only okay, only a selected material thin film is removed. Okay, film is removed. Okay, so basically your reactive ion etching process, which is also called as RIE, capital RIE. Okay, okay, RIE provides selectivity. Okay, good selectivity. Okay, compared to your plain sputtering method. Okay, so reactive ion etching is very popular and very useful method. Okay, third mechanism is chemical etching, which is like in this case your etching process is chemical. Okay, and it is different from wet etching in a sense that in wet etching your chemical the etchant chemical is basically you're doing that thing in liquid medium. Here those etchants basically arrive at the thin film surface in gas form. Okay, so for example you can have a chemical plasma, okay, which is chemical plasma comprising of fluorine or these yeah fluorine, okay, to remove silicon. Okay, okay, so in this case this fluorine based plasma basically removes silicon. Okay, so this is one example of chemical etching. Okay, okay, and as I mentioned, how it is different from wet chemical etching. Okay, so here you use a plasma which is based on a particular chemical, and that chemical through chemical reaction with the thin film, basically it removes the that thin film. In this case, example is silicon being removed by fluorine plasma. Okay. Now, one important concept is use of a polymer layer. Okay, so why it is useful, that I will come to the point. Okay, so basically what happens is that in plasma based dry etching methods, many times what we do that we deposit uh, polymer. Okay, means we involve polymer in our etching process. Okay, and why we basically do polymer deposition. Okay, Okay, to cover side walls. Okay, to cover side walls of the thin film. Okay, so when we cover the side walls, okay, so what happens that your undercut basically is stopped. Okay, okay, and as your undercut is stopped, what happens that there is lateral etching is basically reduced. Okay, okay, so this way you get a good anisotropic etching. Okay. So, so many times you will we will see that we are basically allowing some polymer to deposit on the side walls of a thin film, which is basically getting removed. But in a way, during the removal, when we think that it has it has etched a sufficient width, which we wanted to etch away, that okay. So then we basically bring polymers in picture, and this results in sidewall passivation. And once you have passivated the sidewalls, your etching in lateral direction basically becomes slow, and what you get is a very good anisotropic etching. Okay, and then we have another thing is that जितने भी ये plasma processes जो surface पे हो रही हैं, okay, so this action, this action of etching, dry etching, okay, means how your plasma will interact with the thin film, okay, and how your etching will proceed, okay, or for that matter etching rate, okay, all these things basically depend on your substrate temperature, okay. So you have to be like okay, so one very important parameter is substrate temperature. Okay, okay, so substrate temperature will decide how your plasma process basically interacts with the, okay, and so how is the H rate, okay. So basically along with other plasma parameters, a very important parameter for dry etching is substrate temperature. Okay. Okay, so with this we will end this lecture, and in the next video we will discuss different types of plasma based dry etching apparatuses. Okay, and see you soon. Okay.